You're listening to DJ Double G. Double G. Double G.
I tell you something, I tell you something, every sound pack up your CD. Pack up the pouch, put up the laptop there. Pack up the charger. Carry the bag, go home. And we not talk, man, we just play for money, pull up. We are talking about real select and real sound. We make real money. All the other selectors that are trying, just leave the place, though. Clear the area, right? Do what you have to do, and show them how we make real money. They're just learning the business, right?
Check. Hey, everything check. Check the Serato. Check the CD them. Check the mixing board. Make sure that the earphone work. Check.
Party people, prepare yourself. This is gonna be a time to remember. Get ready for the DJ who succeeded where others gave up. The DJ who will make you sweat and scream for more. Raise your hands in the air and make some noise for
DJ Double G.
Some boys say we out a road and have to hide them girl from the street. Some boys say we out.
Yes, indeed, with some 13 minutes after the hour. Of course, we say thank you so much to Luciano Chronic, of course, for holding it down and then handing over the baton to me. Indeed, and welcome to another edition of Down the Middle. And let me just say there is no football report this or today, but nonetheless we still have the man in the middle, Mr. Jazzy Smith. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to our listeners in Zollyhood Radio Land. It's nice to be back on another Saturday on Down the Middle, and where we dissect your sports.
So before we before we head into the clips, let's do this.
Yes, indeed. So, you, Jeff, you had played an audio track with the whole Chilean Fraser Prize and her not being able to compete in the 100 meters finals, right? And her coach and her express, very dissatisfied, their disappointment with this whole event and the transpiring of it. Now, I stumbled upon another video which gave a little bit more light in this whole incident, which speaks not only about Shelly Ann Fraser Price, but also spoke about Shakira Jackson in her 200, because remember, she didn't run the 100 meters, but she was basically shooting hard for the 200, which she was going to do. But as we know, the last minute she pulled out of that race, which was a little bit odd. So we're going to play the clip now to give our listeners basically what this whole occurrence in terms of the Paris 2024 Olympics, and this could be a much bigger deal than we are. I wouldn't say we are making it, but I believe there was some unfair play when it came to certain athletes from various countries. So yeah, you can shoot the clip.
Hello, good evening, Halftime TV viewers and subscribers, and we're a little bit in a different mood this evening because I think, and I'm going to say it straight off the bat, the organizers for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games should be embarrassed. Before I even go any further, big shout out to all the athletes who have competed so far at the Paris Olympics. Big shout out to everyone who's dedicated so much effort, and they've spent countless evenings and mornings, early mornings, going out there, putting in the practice, training so hard to get to the Olympic Games. Again, the mere prestige of the Olympic Games and the weight that it comes with, a lot of people are just happy merely being there, right? So shout out to everyone. If you're new to Halftime TV, welcome. We appreciate all the love and the support that you've given to us over the last couple of days / weeks. We'll be doing the preview for tomorrow's events at 9:30. So in just about 30 minutes, we'll return to the live stream and we'll do our preview for the 100-meter semifinal and final that is to come tomorrow. We also have the 200 meters coming tomorrow as well. So before we even get to that, as I said, we're going to talk about that. We're going to dedicate an entire show towards that. Let's talk about the Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce situation. And as you can see, this video is not meant to be one where we're very polite and we're diplomatic. We're here to share our thoughts on this one. And I must say, let me say it straight off the bat, an embarrassment. So the Paris Olympic Games, it didn't get off to the best of start. And right now, how they treated one of the greatest sprinters over 100 meters of all times, the greatest sprinter that a lot of us have ever seen. This is how you treat her. Going up or leading up to the Olympic Games, there were a lot of advertising, like marketing, and guess what? Throughout all this, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was being used as the face of the Olympics. She was, I think she made countless trips to Paris to promote the Olympic Games. You can see, I think, at the Nike headquarters, and there is a picture of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. They had a statue of her as well. So Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is, quite frankly, one of the most talked about athletes at these Olympic Games. And regardless of everything that's been happening with the other sports, with swimming, with diving, with equestrian, all these other sports, all these other athletes who are competing. We saw rugby, we saw football, we saw so much other sports taking place, and yet throughout all this, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has been making all the headlines leading up to track and field. Now, track and field day one was on Friday, so we saw Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce for the first time on Friday, and she looked good. She came second. She dipped below 11 seconds as well, and a lot of the fans, including myself, we were excited to see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in the semi-final, right? We wanted to see her, especially since that semi-final that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was placed in was the podium semi-final. And I said podium semi-final because, in my opinion, at least 3 of the females coming from that semi-final would actually be podium contenders. And we did a preview on that race. We named it podium semi-final as well. And in hindsight now, we're looking back and we're saying, possibly could be onto something, because Julian Alfred and Sha'Carri Richardson, 2 of the athletes from semi-final number 2, they ended up being first and second respectively. I'm not saying Melissa Jefferson didn't give a big performance. I'm not saying she wasn't impressive. But what I'm saying is I expected Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to be amongst the mix. And if she got to the final, there's no telling what could have happened. But back to the organizers, because I don't want to talk about what if. I'm talking about the organizers and how they dealt with this situation with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. I know she subsequently got injured. The reports that came out of the athletes camp or out of the the Jamaica Olympic Association team, they indicated that based on the report from the doctor, it's saying it's a hamstring strain. Now, while I was live streaming, I spoke about it and I said these athletes, they have set routines prior to their races that they go in and they know that, okay, in the first 10 minutes, this is what I'm going to do. Next 15 minutes to follow, this is what I'm going to work on, etc., etc. So what that does is that prepares them properly for the races ahead or the race ahead. In this case, it was a semi-final that was to come for Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She was locked out of the warm-up area, herself and Sha'Carri Richardson. And one may argue that Sha'Carri Richardson was a victim of this as well, because, again, usually she's very quick out the blocks. And I'm not saying if she weren't locked out of the athletes' village, she would have beaten Julian Alfred. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we would have gotten a better performance from Sha'Carri Richardson, indeed. So both of those athletes, they weren't given adequate time to warm up. One of the athletes went on to compete. She was placed second, considering that she was one of the favorites. And again, not saying Sha'Carri Richardson would have won this race, but what I'm saying is the meet organizers, they robbed us, the fans, of what could have been it was an amazing 100-meter final, but it could have been even better had Sha'Carri and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce been a part of the mix. And we could even go as far as to say what they did by locking out both these athletes resulted in Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce picking up that injury, because now she had to work twice as hard to ensure that she was ready and she was warming up, and her condition was in competing shape come the next couple of minutes. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, but in my opinion, I think the athletes, they deserve better. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, for someone who's been at 2008 Olympics, 2012, 2016, 2020, she's been at 4 Olympics. She's gotten a medal at all 4, and this would have been the 5th Olympics. This would have been the 5th Olympics for her, and she's gotten a medal at each of the previous 4. No one has ever gotten medals at 5 straight Olympics, and she was in the process of making history right here. This was supposed to be her farewell, and Paris 2024 robbed us of this. They robbed us of it. They robbed us. We may very well not see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce again competing, at least, and I think that's heartbreaking, because for countless fans watching from across the world, I don't even want to go into it, but a lot of people who came to the Stade de France today to watch the 100 meters, they came to see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. As I said, she's been used as the face of track and field throughout the entire marketing campaign for these Olympic Games. It's always been Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She's been in Paris countless times marketing the Olympics, and now that we've gotten to the Olympics, we're seeing how she's been treated, and it's heartbreaking. She released a statement on her Instagram, and I'll read the statement for you guys, because I know she's always up and she's always bubbly, she's always cheerful. I know how she must be feeling this evening after being hampered by that injury. She would have been looking at this, the final Olympics. Well, she even said it before we got to the Olympics, that this would have been her final Olympics, and everyone would expect her to go out swinging. Everyone would expect her to, at the end of the race, regardless of the outcome, to be waving to the fans and doing that lap of honor, hugging and embracing all the other competitors, because it may very well be the last time that they line up next to her. So this is the statement that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce she posted on her social media page. It is difficult for me to find the words to describe the depth of my disappointment. I know that my supporters share and shoulder this disappointment with me. I'm truly blessed to have had the steadfast support of my fans since my Olympic debut in 2008. The support of my fans, my country, and the larger community has rooted me in immense gratitude that has sustained me throughout my career. With every step and win, you all have been there for me. My faith has always affirmed my trust in my journey. Thank you for continuing to be with me today and every day. Heartbreaking, truly heartbreaking, Halftime TV viewers and subscribers, and I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, we get an opportunity to bid Shelly and Fraser Price a proper farewell, because this is not how I envisioned it. This is not how anyone envisioned it. This is not how we wanted to see her hanging up those glorious spikes of her. We don't even remember the last hairstyle that she came out with, because the finals of the 100 meters or even the semi-final was supposed to be one last look at those vibrant hairstyles that she usually graces the track with. So let's hear what you, the viewers and subscribers, have to say. As I said, we're deviating a little bit from the usual routine, and we'll be back at 9:30 to do the preview of the 100 meters for men tomorrow. We'll also be touching on the 200 meters as well. So stay tuned for that, Halftime TV viewers and subscribers. But in the meantime, let's hear what your thoughts are on that. What are your thoughts on how Shelly and Fraser Price and Sha'Carri Richardson as well were treated by those controlling the training area and on a larger scale, the meet organizers? I think when we have legends in our midst, we need to treat them better and we need to embrace them, because as one fan said, nothing is forever. We have to do better. And Paris, I'm calling you out. You are the organizers. They've been so much to talk about at the Paris Olympic Games. And when you're talking about things that are happening outside of the sports, then you know that something is going wrong. But that's Halftime TV's opinion. Again, congratulations, Julian Alfred. We're not taking anything away from Julian's magnificent victory. But, and that's a huge but there, we would have loved to see Shelly and Fraser Price put one last wave to the fans who came out to support her after such a stellar career. I think this is not how we envision the story to end. But let's hear what your thoughts are. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. We'll be back at 9:30 to discuss the preview for the men's 100 meters. Peace out. We'll talk soon.
Something really shady and sabotaging has been going on in the Paris Olympics 2024 since its opening ceremony. As if this ceremony was not less controversial, France has continued the unlawful and malicious activities that are impacting players, especially the black ones from all around the world. Fans and sports experts came to know about this when the legendary and one of the greatest athletes, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, was barred from entering the warm-up area. This was her last Olympics, and she had decided to make it memorable, but the sabotage caused her to miss the semi-finals and the opportunity to run in the final. Yet, she was not alone. Sha'Carri Richardson of the USA also faced this, and that's why we did not see any of these two great athletes winning the gold medal in women's 100 meter. They were mentally disturbed and physically hindered. So how did all this happen? What is the reality, and what are more incidents where acts of sabotage are being found? In this video, let's find out. The controversy surrounding the women's 100-meter event at the Paris 2024 Olympics has sparked widespread criticism, with allegations of mishandling and even potential sabotage. All this happened due to the last-minute rule changes, confusion among athletes, and a significant impact on the performances of some of the world's top sprinters, particularly Jamaican stars Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. Let's be honest, the women's 100 meters is always one of the most eagerly awaited events at the Olympics, featuring the fastest women in the world competing for the coveted gold medal. Because the Olympics represent all sports under one umbrella, one expected to see fairness and performance that could be remembered forever. However, this year, in Paris, the Olympics became embarrassing. On the day of the semifinals for the women's 100 meters, chaos erupted when Paris Olympic officials implemented an overnight rule change. The new rule required athletes to enter the stadium via designated buses instead of walking through the gates, as they had done in previous days. That's beyond logic. It means that the athletes would not be recognized and allowed to enter unless they were on their bus. This rule change was implemented overnight, and no one was informed about it. This sudden change caught several athletes off guard, including Fraser Price, Shericka Jackson, and Sha'Carri Richardson. Since neither of the Jamaican athletes was staying in the Olympic Village, they were not informed of the rule change and were denied entry to the stadium when they attempted to enter on foot. This situation led to significant delays and disruptions in their pre-race routines. Fraser Price, in particular, was reportedly unable to warm up properly due to the delay, which severely impacted her performance. Ultimately, this series of unfortunate events culminated in Fraser Price withdrawing from the semifinal due to what was later cited as an injury, although initial reports suggested her withdrawal was due to being denied entry to the venue. Sha'Carri Richardson also faced challenges as a result of the confusion. Although she was eventually allowed to compete, the disruption clearly affected her performance. In the end, Julian Alfred from St. Lucia won the final with a remarkable time of 10.72 seconds. However, her victory was clouded by the controversy surrounding the treatment of her competitors, particularly the Jamaican athletes. The incident sparked outrage across the athletics community and among fans worldwide. Many viewed the rule change as poorly communicated and poorly executed, leading to a situation where top athletes were unable to compete at their best. It seemed like an intentional sabotage, confusing athletes with technicalities. Because two of the top athletes could not make it, the race could have been delayed. However, it seemed that the management was waiting for the precise moment when they were barred from the race. Critics argued that the handling of the event by Paris Olympic officials not only undermined the integrity of the competition, but also disrespected the athletes who had dedicated years to preparing for this moment. For Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, this incident was especially disappointing, as it marked her fifth and likely final Olympic appearance. Her withdrawal from the semi-final due to the rule change was seen by many as a tragic and avoidable end to what had been an illustrious Olympic career. Fans and commentators expressed their frustration that her final appearance on the Olympic stage was marred by such a preventable controversy. The criticism extended beyond this specific event to broader concerns about the overall organization of the Paris 2024 Olympics. Some observers suggested that the Games were being run on the cheap, with cost-cutting measures leading to inadequate accommodations and support for the athletes. There was also a growing sense that the rule changes and the resulting chaos disproportionately affected athletes from certain countries, particularly those from Jamaica, raising serious questions about fairness and potential bias. Julian Alfred's victory, though deserved, inevitably carried a shadow of controversy. As the gold medalist, she earned her win fair and square, but the circumstances leading up to the race, especially the fact that her top competitors were not at their best, left some viewing the results with doubt. For sports experts, Sha'Carri Richardson, although present, was not in her best form due to earlier mental disturbance just hours ago. Therefore, while Alfred's achievement should be celebrated, it should be known that the race seemed to be rigged where the top athletes were stopped at the entry gate, breaking their tempo and mental peace, which are essential for the race. This incident has also sparked a broader discussion about the responsibilities of host nations to ensure that all athletes are treated fairly and given the best possible conditions to compete. What should have been a showcase of the world's top athletic talent has instead become a focal point for criticism about organizational failures and the treatment of athletes at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Honestly, without Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce competing and Sha'Carri Richardson not in her best form, the women's 100-meter race lost the thriller. This women's 100 meters at the Paris 2024 Olympics will likely be remembered not just for Julian Alfred's impressive victory, but also for the controversy that marred the event. The mishandling of rule changes and the resulting impact on top athletes like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Sha'Carri Richardson have cast a shadow over what should have been one of the highlights of the Games. Yet the sabotage was made certain after Shelly-Ann's response. When she was barred from entering the warm-up area, she could be seen as perfectly fit and healthy. That's why she came to the race. If she were injured, she would not come. Therefore, it wipes out all the reports that she was injured, and that's why she missed the semi-finals. That's because her own statements have been vague. Her social media posts didn't mention any injury, leading to speculation that she may have been advised not to reveal the true reasons behind her withdrawal. Despite this, she expressed her deep disappointment after missing the women's 100-meter final at Paris 2024, having to withdraw just moments before the semifinals. When her absence was first announced on the scoreboard at the Stade de France, no immediate explanation was provided, leaving many confused, especially with the highly anticipated showdown against Sha'Carri Richardson and Julian Alfred looming. However, Fraser-Pryce could be seen complaining about rule change in a video. She said, "They've changed the rules. We always come through this gate." Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Later, the Jamaican team clarified on social media that Fraser-Pryce was eventually allowed to enter, with chef de mission Ian Kelly confirming to Reuters that her withdrawal was due to injury, despite earlier rumors suggesting she was denied entry to the venue. But if that's true, why didn't she tell this herself? Why others are speaking on her behalf? Fraser-Pryce addressed her withdrawal in a heartfelt statement on social media, though her future in the sport remains uncertain. She wrote, "It is difficult for me to find the words to describe the depth of my disappointment." She continued and said, "I know that my supporters share and shoulder this disappointment with me. I am truly blessed to have had the steadfast support of my fans since my Olympic debut in 2008. She added, "The support of my fans, my country, and the larger community has rooted me in immense gratitude that has sustained me throughout my career. With every step and win, you all have been there for me. My faith has always affirmed my trust in my journey. Thank you for continuing to be with me today and every day." Her teammate Lene Tava-Thomas also expressed her sadness following the withdrawals of both Fraser-Pryce and Shericka Jackson within 24 hours. She said, "I just got the news 5 minutes ago. Everybody has their problems. People can be tired, everything is accomplished off this one meet, and certain situations happen. It is what it is. Me and Nisha, I think we can do it. It's sad, especially for Shelly, because it's her last Olympics, and she won't be able to participate. It sucks. She's keeping high spirits and making sure we're not affected by it. She needs her space right now." Fraser-Pryce had previously confirmed that Paris would be her final Olympics, sharing how she was savoring the experience and exploring other sports. "It's the final Olympic Games, let me repeat that," Fraser-Pryce told the Gleaner. "This time around, I've been having fun, enjoying the experience, the Olympic spirit. Meeting people, I went to rugby, the first time I've been to a match. So far it's been good, always excited to step on the track. It's where you unleash everything you're experiencing. To be at my 5th Olympics is a blessing. It's crazy and a blessing." Her withdrawal meant that none of the 3 Jamaican sprinters who swept the podium in Tokyo made it to the final in Paris. Elaine Thompson-Herah, the 2020 champion, had already ended her season earlier this year due to an Achilles tendon injury, while Shericka Jackson, the bronze medalist from Tokyo, initially focused on the 200 meters before ultimately withdrawing from that event as well. Yes, the sabotage is doing harm to an extent we cannot imagine. Shericka Jackson, another top Jamaican sprinter, also made headlines when she pulled out of the 200-meter race after previously withdrawing from the 100-meter to focus on the 200-meter. Jackson, who was a strong favorite to win the 200 meters, cited ongoing hamstring issues as the reason for her decision, but her withdrawal has left many questions unanswered. Jackson's initial decision to skip the 100 meters was seen as a strategic move to conserve her energy for the 200 meters. However, just days later, she withdrew from the 200-meter race as well, leading to speculation about what really happened. Although Jackson mentioned in an interview that her hamstring was bothering her and that she wanted to perform at her best, the timing of her withdrawal has led many to wonder if other factors, possibly related to how she was treated during the Games, played a role. The abruptness of both Jackson and Fraser-Pryce's decisions especially so close to race time, is highly unusual for athletes of their caliber. These are professionals who have dedicated years to their training, and such last-minute withdrawals suggest that something significant may have occurred behind the scenes. The unexpected withdrawals of Fraser-Pryce and Jackson from two of the most anticipated races of the Olympics have sparked a mix of disappointment and speculation among fans and commentators. Many admire the athletes for not publicly criticizing the Olympics, suggesting that they may have chosen to preserve their dignity rather than engage in a public dispute. However, this silence has also left many wondering what really happened and whether the athletes felt disrespected or mistreated in some way. For those eager to see the Jamaican athletes compete, the situation has been particularly frustrating, knowing that they are among the best in the world. The absence of Fraser-Pryce and Jackson from these key races has left a void in the competition, dampening the excitement these events typically generate. There is hope that both Fraser-Pryce and Jackson will eventually share their accounts of what happened in Paris, providing clarity on a situation that has left many questions unanswered. For now, their silence has only fueled speculation, leaving fans to piece together the events from limited information. Despite the disappointment of not seeing them compete, there is widespread respect for how they have handled the situation, choosing to step back with grace rather than airing grievances publicly. Perhaps in time, they will offer more insight into their decisions, but until then, their supporters continue to respect their privacy and wish them the best in their future endeavors. However, their body language tells everything, but it does not stop here. In the women's 5,000-meter race at the Paris 2024 Olympics, Kenyan athlete Faith Kipyegon, a two-time Olympic champion in the 1,500 meters, found herself at the center of a major controversy. After crossing the finish line in second place, securing what seemed to be a well-deserved silver medal, Kipyegon was suddenly disqualified. The disqualification stemmed from an alleged infraction during the race, specifically involving a clash with Ethiopian runner Gudaft Tsegay during the penultimate lap. The incident occurred as Kipyegon and Tsegay jostled for position in the final stages of the race. In the heat of competition, their movements were closely watched by officials, who later claimed that Kipyegon had impeded Tsegay's progress. As a result, Kipyegon's name was removed from the official results board, and the silver medal was provisionally awarded to Dutch runner Sifan Hassan, with Italian runner Nadia Battocletti promoted to the bronze medal position. The decision to disqualify Kipyegon shocked the athletics community and sparked immediate outrage, particularly from the Kenyan team, who believed the disqualification was unjust. Kenya's athletics officials, led by Milka Chimos, Bernard Uma, and team manager Peter Angwenyi, swiftly lodged a formal protest, arguing that the incident was a common occurrence in long-distance racing and did not warrant such a severe penalty. The protest triggered a detailed review of the race footage and circumstances surrounding the incident. After careful consideration, the race officials concluded that the initial disqualification was not justified. They found that the contact between Kipyegon and Tsegay was incidental and did not constitute deliberate obstruction or interference. Consequently, Kipyegon's disqualification was overturned, and her second-place finish was reinstated. With the reinstatement, Kipyegon's name reappeared on the results board, and she was officially awarded the silver medal. This decision not only vindicated Kipyegon, but also restored the rightful order to the podium. Sifan Hassan was moved back to the bronze medal position. This showed how Black and African athletes were disproportionately being targeted in intense scrutiny. If the Kenyan team had not protested, the decision would have not been reversed and Kipyegon would have been disqualified, despite securing the second position. All this hints toward a possibility. Something is really wrong with the Paris Olympics, and the acts of sabotage are not coincidental, but part of the shady business being carried out. Isn't it true that France is engaging in an explicit form of racism by sabotaging Black players' performances? Do you think France should be ever allowed to host the Olympics again? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on how you felt when you found out that the legend Shelly Ann was deliberately barred from entering the stadium. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
On.
There is a lot to digest in those two clips. But what we can get from the whole summary of those videos is that we were all waiting for a spectacular moment in the 100, the 200 meters, and that did not live up to expectations because the France officials didn't, I won't say do their job, but their job was not evenly fair across the board to all athletes in question, and which made the finals, which we saw, what it is. You know, when you having the top athletes, and we were speaking about that, the last Saturday, especially in Sharian, he was the poster child of the France Olympics, and to be treated in the manner that she was treated, should speak volumes, and with the second video, where we now see it was not just the Jamaicans, it was the Americans, it was the Kenyans, but there seemed to have been some favoritism, against, other nations, with fair skin, than the quote unquote black African countries. And I don't know how we as, persons listening are going to handle such information, but it's something that I think that should be talked about. We should have, the necessary discussion on, because sports and the whole Olympics, was supposed to be a sport that is free and fair for everyone to compete, and may the best man, may the best woman, win. When you're now having, officials and other parties involved, affecting that, by people from, their warm up and training, disqualifying people without no justified reason, and so on and so forth. Those things can raise its head and can be a problem as we go into other Olympics to come. So, yeah, I don't know. What say you, my brother?
The thing is, I because I was only thinking, the fact that, it was based on, what triggered everybody was the fact that, you made an overnight rule, and the only persons knew about that specific ruling was the persons who were on camp, quote unquote. So persons who were not on camp, for example, like the Jamaicans and some of the Americans, particularly Richardson,
Yeah.
I think, and this is just me, this is not the views of Zollyhood Radio, but my view, that and this is logics. I mean, everybody would and should and could agree with me, for the fact that if, let's say, for example, that a decision was made to say, hey, look, as of next week, Monday, as it regards to Zollyhood Radio, we're not gonna have any morning shows, And let's say, for example, that everyone knew except, let's say, for example, a Kennedy Wave and or a Luciano Chronic, for example. That would be unfair because at the end of the day, once they log on or clock in to the server, you know, Redebe is going to call and say, hey, look, this is not so because the rule was applied. The rule was mentioned yesterday that as of today there has been no morning shows, and that would be unfair. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if every if one thing applies to you, it applies to me. If I know,
Exactly.
you should know. If you know, I should know because both of us are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is a total unfair
And,
situation.
and the thing is that it is up to the discretion of the office whether they want to stay in the village.
Exactly.
Because LeBron said that, well, I don't want to stay in the village. For example, the beds, he said that I can't sleep on that bed. You know,
Exactly.
you because
Exactly. I can't. What if the food that you have is not to my liking? What if some food that you have it's allergic to me? I'm allergic to whatever you have over there. Probably the water. Probably this. Probably I don't know. But I'm just saying. Let's say for
no,
example. Let's say for you know.
the thing was that in terms of the accommodations, as one of the videos mentioned, it looks like this swing. I wouldn't say it was rather the cheap, but there was definitely some cost saving measures, because the Olympics, as we'll get into, is not necessarily a cheap thing to operate, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
France wanted a more eco-friendly way of hosting the Olympics. And that's why their beds were more out of cardboard kind of a thing. It wasn't like the normal beds that you had. Most of the rooms had any AC and so on and so forth. And so for somebody like LeBron James, I'm a rich guy, man. I can afford to pay for my accommodation. I didn't something, hand out to me. Let me get the bedroom on France, and let me pay for it, and let me stay in there for my duration of the Olympics.
Exactly. But if that is not suitable to me, what should I do? Because you paid for it simply means I should.
Exactly. So
I've never seen this in Athens. I've never seen this in Beijing. I've never seen this in London. I've never seen this in Brazil. I've never seen this anywhere else in the world.
yeah,
And it's not like France had little time to prepare. They had a lot of time to prepare. They knew exactly what they're about. They knew exactly what were going to do. They knew exactly what kind of measures they were going to take. And then what? But but but
well you
but
see,
but but, but here's the but
well,
here's the
well you see,
here is
my friend,
here is the
as we coming off from an emancipation and slash, Jamaican's independence, when we look at the Caribbean, my friend, and look at, the extent that, France and Britain, had a more dominance over most of the Caribbean islands, you would expect as a former colony, trying to present an image, would
exactly.
have not done that to, for example, Jamaican outfits.
That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Because, for example, and like I said, let's go back in history. Uh, you know, to previous Olympics. The 1990 Olympics or the 1998 Olympics or the 2000 in Athens or whatever. You, for example, London, who Jamaica gained independence from the British, of course. They did not treat the Caribbean men or women, like dirts. You know what I mean? Like. Oh well, you pulled away from me, so I'm going to still treat you like a quote unquote, you know, whatever. So the point is, I would be devastated. I would be angry. I would be, because I've trained a lot straight, for these number of years to be a part. I've gone to different trials around the world. I've done what I need to do. Injuries, everything, breakdowns, all that kind of stuff. To reach exactly where I am, I drove out of the or walked in this case out of the venue to go and rest and have something to eat and rest, rest up and all that kind of stuff for the day ahead tomorrow. One, I walk, and when I walk in, you're going to tell me, oh, no, 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 as of last night, I'm not aware of that. Why didn't you send?
Exactly.
I mean, why didn't you? I'm sure
And the
organizers.
thing is that, the people making the rules, I am sure that they had their coaches, contact number. Even if they're not their contact, I am sure they could have gotten the information across if they wanted to.
But I'm saying
But
exactly that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the
it-
organizers. I'm saying the organizers have the coaches' numbers or some official number to say, hey, look, could you tell your athletes that we've made a slight change? It was a sudden change, but here's the change. We would have agreed with that. I mean, whether we want to agree with it or not, it is already done. But the point is, let us know.
Yeah.
Do not let it,
And,
don't,
and,
don't
and the
tell
thing, and
us
the
at
thing,
the
and
end
the thing is,
don't, I'm saying, do not tell us at the appointed time. Tell us before time. So if we walk in and Jazzy says, hey, look, because you're not a part of the team bus, then I was like, okay, fine, I heard of it, I know of it, but, well, and that's no excuse, because it's not like I didn't know. That,
yeah.
if I knew and I walk, leaving the
But,
team bus,
but,
that is
but,
that is
but,
that is left to me.
but to be honest with you, that shouldn't be a rule either way. Because for me, what I'm saying at the venue or not saying at the venue shouldn't be none of your concern. What should
Exactly.
be your concern is whether I'm there for the event,
Exactly.
right? I could be sleeping on a bridge for all I care, but that's not your problem. The problem is that when the day of the event comes, am I there to participate?
Exactly.
If I'm
Whether
there,
whether I want to walk or drive or fly or crawl, that is none of your business. The point is, if I'm there to represent the track, I'm going to go on the track, and if I'm not on the track, then you can find out what the hell is wrong with Jazzy Smith.
well, you don't even need to find out what the hell wrong. If I'm not there, I'm not there. That's my loss.
Exactly.
But if I'm there, I'm supposed to make the accommodation because, like it was said in the video, even if you were not able to contact the various coaches and say, let's say for argument's sake, they realize they made an error. They could have postponed the event. Let's say we guys going to start an hour later, just to give the athletes okay, great, blah blah blah,
Exactly.
the chance.
I mean, not even that was put into to play. Well, okay, fine. Change was made, last night. Here's what we're gonna do because the change and the sudden change. Here's what let's push back the event for another hour or so or whatever to give these athletes time enough to warm up, to do whatever they need to do, to hydrate, to all that, that kind of. But nothing was done.
Yes, nothing was done.
And like I said before, I think I made an error by saying to you that Glenn Mills was actually the coach of Kishane and Stephen Francis actually is. But the point is, Stephen Francis is even crazier. I tell you, Glenn Mills, the Francis brothers, they are not going to rest at all until this is rectified. And the thing is, if you look at the second clip with the Kenyan athletes, with the
The long distance.
with the Kenyan athlete, his coach or her coach or whoever it is did not stop until it was rectified.
Yeah.
Because what? It was an error on France's part.
Mm?
Not me, not you. So what? Are you taking blame for this, but you're not taking blame for that? Even though the one that you should be taking blame for is the one that you're not taking it for?
Exactly.
This is nonsense.
A real nonsense. A real nonsense. But
I mean, nobody at all was expecting, especially the 100 and the 200 meters respectively. No, I mean, nobody expected. I mean, everybody expected drama, that kind of stuff, but nobody expected nonsensical
Right kind of
behavior
drama.
from the France officials.
We expect drama on the tracks.
Exactly.
We don't expect drama off the tracks.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Because you look at it in our discussion, both the women and the men, people say, "Guy, boy, this thing is going to be a tough race, my friend." Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then what? If Shelly and okay, fine. Let's say Shelly and Fraser walked onto the track because she got the chance to warm up. What if she had come fifth? We would have been like, okay, that's a shocker. Fine, it's done. It's dusted. What's her name? Julian Alfred already won. Fine. Let's move on. Shelly Ann Fraser
Yeah.
was prepped. She was ready for the 100-meter. Why? Because it was her last Olympics. But she didn't win. Fine, let's go. But no.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
We now have this uncertainty. But what if she had competed? What would have happened?
Exactly.
Nah, man. Well, and again, like both of that video said, credit to Julian Alfred. She did what she had to do. But at the same time, my friend, it's not inconvenience, people like that, top athletes or their stuff, respected athletes, just, because, hey, you know what? And like, again, it's France. France was one of our colonizers. So even at that, and the thing is this, if you were to look at the parade of the France Olympics, and somebody mentioned on the status, which I had to kind of funnily laugh because it's true. When you look at the parade, guys, you could see those people are from Africa. They're not France. They're not France. They're not France.
The weird thing, Jazz, is let's say, for example, that, like I said, Shelly Ann Fraser, she did what she did. I mean, kudos to Julian Alfred. I will not take that from her. But as the clip said, even though she won the race, she was not comfortable. Why? Because she expected a tougher challenge.
Yeah.
She expected a Shelly Ann Fraser. She expected a Shikari Richardson. She expected something. I mean, I don't care if I won the gold medal. Fine, that's history for my country. But I'm an athlete. The persons around me are athletes. So what? We are one.
Yeah.
Let's slide the gold medal for a second away. That is not important right now. The most important thing is we are here to do a job. Everybody should know and would know and has to know everything that is going on. But why is it that we know and they don't know? The weird, you know what? The weird thing is, and this was funny, but it was a good gesture. I don't know if you actually saw the clip where two athletes, a race was going. For some strange reason, one of the athletes actually fell on the track, and the other one literally stopped from a different country to help the other one up.
Yep. But
He could have said, well, fine, that's my race to win. But what? He's looking at the competitiveness of the race. But
that's what the sport's supposed to be. Yes, we are competing. Yes, I want to win. I want to be better than you. But I don't want to win at your expense.
Exactly.
I want the race to be free. I want it to be fair. And I want to, when I beat you, there is no questions like,
it was because of.
I was denied at the gate entry, or like the Kenyan. I deserved my bronze time, my silver medal, but it was stripped away from me.
Exactly.
Nah, no man, come on. But but just to make that transition, you see what's we when I could say we, because some of we are athletes as well, because I play playing cricket and football. So you see that's what we have to endure, as athletes. And you would think I hinted at in your soon transition and up the upper deck and so forth, that you would think that the athletes are getting paid and are getting substantial. I'm not saying that they don't, but we shall see in a minute, what kind of assistance or payment is given to the various athletes. But before we get to the Olympics, let's go with Snoop Dogg and how much he got paid at the Olympics. Roll that clip.
Our next story is about Snoop Dogg. Yes, the rapper Snoop Dogg. Some of the athletes have grabbed headlines, have become internet's favorites. And right alongside their popularity, of course, stands Snoop Dogg's. Not because of his main profession, that's there, of course, but he's been lighting up the Paris Olympics with his own brand of charm, his antics, and he's just about everywhere. He's like the motif for the games, almost like the mascot. You turn around and he's there, waving the flag or chatting with the horses, dancing about and basically goofing around. You think he surely loves sport a lot to spend that much time here, or is he here to be the official cheerleader of the United States? Neither. Reports suggest the rapper is making money for every single appearance. How much is Snoop Dogg making here, and has he made the games more interesting with his tint? Take a look.
It's normal for fans and athletes to catch the Paris fever, especially at an event like the Olympics. But at this Olympics, it's the other way around. Feels like Paris is catching the Snoop Dogg fever. The rapper is just about everywhere. If you are a spectator at the games, there is a high chance that Snoop Dogg has attended more events than you have. And if you're a fan watching the events on your television, you will find the man on every sports channel you tune into.
And back to the...
Because wherever he goes, the camera follows. And why wouldn't it? Because in addition to his immense fan following, Snoop Dogg makes sure his presence is felt. He started off by carrying a torch through the Parisian suburbs, and then went on to race against the swimming legend Michael Phelps, failing at it too, but that did not deter Snoop Dogg. In the blink of an eye, he moved over to another sport. He horsed around a bit with the participants of the equestrian event. Look at him here, attempting to rap and jive with the horses. Clearly not a sports person, but an entertainer of the highest order. He then paired up with gymnasts Simone Biles and Jordan Chales to break into an impromptu dance that went viral. Now, of course, he's not doing any of this for free. So what is Snoop getting in return? Well, reports say that for every appearance, Snoop Dogg is getting a modest sum of $500,000. That's right, $500,000 each day and daily expenses. This for being a special correspondent for one of the broadcasters. To put it in perspective, a US athlete gets $37,500 for winning a gold. Snoop Dogg's contract with the broadcasters for a period of about 17 days amounts to $8.5 million. That is apart from the daily allowance. So if there is one person who is reaping the rewards of the games, no matter who wins or loses, no matter what controversy erupts, it's clearly Snoop Dogg. They say every dog has his or her day. For Snoop Dogg, that is every day in Paris.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
All right, So we had a little sneak peek of Snoop Dogg, his presence at the Olympics and how much his salary is, on a daily basis. And that's not including of, daily accommodation and nothing like that. Just to promote the event, which is the Olympics, this is what Snoop Dogg got. So let me ask a question. We know that Chillian Fraser, right, was one of those persons, one of those athletes that, were there to promote the events. How much she got for her day-to-day promoters and so forth? It would be nice to know.
It actually would.
Especially given what took place, with her whole, she had to be pulled out of the race at the last moment. Right? So, but we see that the persons that are promoting the events, what they get. And you heard a sneak peek at what the US got. They got 37,000 for winning a goal. But Snoop Dogg is already getting that plus a day.
Exactly.
So, just before we roll with the other clip, how much do you really think, on average, Olympics competitors are getting?
How much do you think Olympians make at each Olympics? Do you know? Take a guess. Send in a message. Let me know exactly what you think. What say you, Jazz?
Well, it will be unfair because I already watched it.
No. I was not asking you that. I was asking you what say you as it regards to the listeners.
Well, I'll be saying you might be high and you might be too low. You might be too high or you might be too low. Exactly. It all depends.
Well, you won't know until you send in your answers. What do you think? How much do you think Olympians are making?
What I will say is this. I am sure that some of you guys who are working a 9-to-5 job, are getting more than some Olympians. So that should put things in perspective.
Well, let's find out.
July in Paris. 10,000 athletes are floating down the Seine for the opening ceremony of the 2024 Olympics. Just a few hundred meters away in this McDonald's, several employees are flipping burgers and asking if you want fries with that. Who do you think makes more money, the athlete or the McDonald's worker? Remember, these athletes are filling stadiums, creating a spectacle that the whole world wants to see and that generates billions of sponsorship money. And yet, it's the McDonald's worker that earns almost 50% more than the average athlete. The International Olympic Committee gives absolutely no money to Olympians, even if they win gold. But why not? And how do athletes make money? It turns out that the answer is more complicated than you'd think, and deeply rooted in the history of modern sports. Welcome to Athletic Interest and the business of being an Olympic athlete. This video is sponsored by Shopify. To fully understand the business of athletes today, we need to look back at the evolution of the games and its prizes. The ancient Greeks believed that the games were created by their gods. After hearing about the birth of Zeus, Heracles and his 4 brothers raced to Olympus to greet him. Zeus was impressed and awarded an olive wreath to the victor. The foot race became symbolic of worshipping the gods. It was also believed that the gods... July in Paris. 10,000 athletes are floating down the Seine for the opening ceremony of the 2024 Olympics. Just a few hundred meters away in this McDonald's, several employees are flipping burgers and asking if you want fries with that. Who do you think makes more money, the athlete or the McDonald's worker? Remember, These athletes are filling stadiums, creating a spectacle that the whole world wants to see, and that generates billions of sponsorship money. And yet, it's the McDonald's worker that earns almost 50% more than the average athlete. The International Olympic Committee gives absolutely no money to Olympians, even if they win gold. But why not? And how do athletes make money? It turns out that the answer is more complicated than you'd think, and deeply rooted in the history of modern sports. Welcome to Athletic Interest and the business of being an Olympic athlete. This video is sponsored by Shopify. To fully understand the business of athletes today, we need to look back at the evolution of the games and its prices. The ancient Greeks believed that the games were created by their gods. After hearing about the birth of Zeus, Heracles and his 4 brothers raced to Olympus to greet him. Zeus was impressed and awarded an olive wreath to the victor. The foot race became symbolic of worshipping the gods. It was also believed that the gods spent a lot of their time atop Mount Olympus wrestling and jumping. Soon there were 23 disciplines represented at each Olympics, which were held once every 4 years. The early athletes had no Nike sponsorship, so many decided to compete naked. The first official winner of an Olympic event was Koroibos of Elis, a baker turned Olympic runner. His reward was a simple olive leaf crown and a palm branch. Not exactly life-changing, but he had earned the admiration of the gods. What else could he want? Olympic winners did get other rewards. Wealthy supporters would often donate cash prizes, VIP tickets to special events, and lifetime passes to dining clubs. Some athletes got statues in Olympus. Most were given tax breaks and enjoyed a life of celebrity. Being an Olympic champion was good business, but the cost of entry was high. The first Olympic champion may have been a baker, but most that followed were sons of wealthy landowners and traders. Getting to the Olympics required an athlete to train all year round and compete in up to 300 smaller events across the Mediterranean. Only the rich had the time and money to get to the top of their game. The ancient Olympics ended under Roman rule. After a 1500-year gap, this guy founded the International Olympic Committee and organized the first modern Olympic Games. To remember the old days, Athens was the first host city. Much like in ancient Greece, winners were awarded olive branches. But the modern games also introduced the medal system. Confusingly, the winner received a silver medal, while the runner-up received a copper medal. The third place was unrewarded. The gold, silver and bronze system was only introduced in 1906. Like the ancient athletes, Olympic champions received no money. This is thanks to Coubertin's other invention, a rule that would shape the lives of athletes for generations and change the way sports operate until today. To compete in the Olympics, you had to be an amateur. That meant no sponsorship contracts and no money for participation. A rule that was upheld strictly. Take James Francis Thorpe, winner of the decathlon and pentathlon at the 1912 Stockholm Games. Notice his mismatched shoes. Thorpe's own pair disappeared from his bag before the race. He borrowed one replacement from a competitor and found another in the trash. Neither shoe was the correct fit. After seeing Thorpe's performance, the Swedish king labeled the American the greatest athlete in the world. Thorpe returned home as a celebrity, until a chance interview with one of his former coaches. The coach mentioned that Thorpe had briefly played baseball for a semi-pro team, earning $5 per game. So the Amateur Athletics Union challenged his gold medals because he was not a genuine amateur athlete. Thorpe was found guilty. Authorities entered his house, removed his medals, and sent them back to Stockholm. Thorpe can be considered a victim of the IOC's desire to keep the games pure. Money was almost viewed as the first performance-enhancing drug, a powerful tool for motivating or corrupting an athlete. Although, from another angle, it just looks like they hated poor people. the IOC's early idea of amateurism was modeled from English upper-class sportsmanship. Rules designed to keep the lower and middle class from competing with the elites. The traditional Henley boat race excluded any man that received money as a mechanic, artisan, or laborer. That left the aristocrats and their rich children. As the Olympic movement grew, the traditional wealthy European athlete was replaced, but the strict amateur rules still remained. Brands did start giving free equipment to athletes. Adidas gave shoes to Jesse Owens, the same shoes that helped him break records in Berlin, to the annoyance of one notable spectator. Being on the feet of champions brought the likes of Adidas and Puma international attention. This was a bit of a gray area. The IOC didn't allow personal sponsorship, but overlooked free equipment. But in 1968, Puma took things too far. Tommy Smith and John Carlos had just completed a gold-silver finish for the US in the 200 meters. When the national anthem played on the podium, both athletes bowed their heads and raised a gloved fist. An iconic protest against racism. But that wasn't the duo's only iconic moment. At the start of the medal ceremony, Carlos also removed his shoes and raised them above his head. The Puma logo purposely pointed to the waiting cameras. Perfect marketing for Puma. It was also for free, right? IOC rules are very clear on paying athletes. Except Puma did pay. In fact, Adidas and Puma were secretly paying athletes thousands to wear their shoes during the games. This became the worst-kept secret in Olympic history. If the IOC investigated, most medal winners would have been disqualified. So the IOC simply ignored it. But it knew this was the end of an era for amateur athletics. In '71, the IOC relaxed the requirement that an Olympian must be an amateur. In the 80s, they even allowed athletes to have sponsorship contracts. This marked a huge turning point in professional sports. The IOC could simply no longer afford the traditional rejection of economic gain. The Montreal Games in '76 made a loss of almost $1 billion. Facing bankruptcy, the IOC came up with a brilliant new invention: exclusive sponsorship deals. The games have had sponsorship since the very beginning, but for many years, anyone that wanted to become a sponsor could arrange some sort of deal. In theory, both Pepsi and Coca-Cola could sponsor the same games. The IOC began signing partners for specific categories. Coca-Cola became the official and exclusive beverage partner of the Olympics. The IOC now had less sponsors, but each partnership was far more valuable. The '84 Games in Los Angeles show this switch, making a $200 million profit. The organizer even appeared on the cover of Time magazine. The Olympics was finally big business. So surely a lot of this money has trickled down to the athletes. Not exactly. In an Olympic cycle, the IOC earns more than $7 billion. The directors share about $50 million in salary. Athletes get nothing. Well, at least not directly from the IOC. So how do Olympic athletes make money today? They have to rely on three sources of income: salary, prize money, and sponsorship. Let's look at them in more detail. Each of these can vary, depending on which country you are representing. Singapore offers $700,000 to any athlete that wins gold. Triumphant Russian athletes are given free houses and luxury cars. And yet, most of the major nations offer far less to their athletes. US gold medal winners receive $37,000. If you become a ninja warrior, you get $1 million. Instead of prize money, some nations offer yearly salaries to allow athletes to focus on training. Despite representing the biggest economy on earth, some top US athletes only receive a few $100s per month. Athletes that want to make it to the Olympics are forced to look for other ways to make money. Many turn to brands for support. This has led to a large imbalance in sports. Let's take two athletes as examples: Usain Bolt and Megan Kelmer. both medal winners at London 2012. Bolt is one of the most popular athletes of all time. This comparison may seem a little unfair, but it shows the huge difference in earnings between athletes, despite them both attending the same Olympics. In 2012, when Bolt was arguably at his height, he earned more than $20 million. The majority of this money came from Bolt's sponsorship deals, including a massive $9 million per year from Puma. Bolt also earned a few $100,000 in prize money and up to $250,000 per track meet. While Bolt is living in mansions and driving fast cars, Megan Kelmer is living the exact opposite life. Kelmer shares a $1,000 per month house with a fellow athlete. When her old pickup truck breaks down, she has to find a mechanic that takes monthly payments. For her Olympic bronze in 2012, she received $10,000, but not before the government took their cut. Shortly after returning from London, her monthly stipend from the US Olympic Committee was cut to a grand total of $0. She now works a part-time desk job and grows her own food to get by. Olympic rowers, even those with medals, do not get much attention from sponsors. Nike, Adidas and Puma save their marketing money for football and basketball. For every Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps or Simone Biles, there are thousands of Megan Kelmers. More than a decade after London 2012, and 5 decades since the IOC allowed athletes to be professional, the gap between rich and poor in sport has barely changed. The majority of athletes around the world do not consider themselves financially stable. In the US, the figure is 80%. Funding from Olympic committees for athlete support is being cut each year. Meanwhile, the cost of equipment, nutrition, training and travel only increases. So some athletes are forced to look for other employment. There are now sheep farmers, mechanics and Buddhist priests that spend their spare hours training for Olympic gold. The uncomfortable truth is that most professional athletes earn less than the lowest level McDonald's worker. This is why more and more athletes are starting their own businesses, to get less dependent on salaries and create something beyond their sporting career. And this is where today's video sponsor Shopify comes in. We've made a whole series about athletes who are using Shopify to build their brand, from Cristiano Ronaldo to Serena Williams. And we also use Shopify ourselves to offer you our legendary athletic interest socks. From setting up a store to tracking inventory and processing payments, Shopify makes it super easy, even for those without technical skills. And it got even easier now with Shopify Magic, an artificial intelligence designed for commerce. It helps you create professional product images or write better product descriptions. If we want our socks in front of a different background, no problem. We hope this got you inspired, and if it did, make sure to check shopify.com/athleticinterest or the link in the description and build your business today. Thanks a lot for supporting us. Now let's get back to understanding the financial landscape of Olympic athletes. The Olympics are only every 4 years. Yes, the athletes have reached the pinnacle, but they are only at the center of attention once every 4 years, for a few weeks. Olympic committees need to spread their funding across hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. A lot of this money comes from sponsors. They need public interest to maintain these sponsors. That means prioritizing support for the sports and athletes that engage the most people. It's the harsh reality. These athletes need to offer a return on investment. It works the same with athlete sponsorship. Adidas or Nike can only really activate their partnerships every 4 years. For the rest of the time, the athlete's exposure is worth far less. That's why even the biggest Olympic athletes don't get as much as the biggest footballers or basketball players. These guys have more opportunities each year to win when the world is watching. To make matters worse, the Olympics has Rule 40. This was the IOC's reaction to a little marketing game that Nike was playing in the 80s and 90s. Adidas was the official and exclusive sportswear partner of the Olympics. So Nike is technically blocked from making any advertising that links to the games. Not that this has stopped Nike's marketing team. They perfected the art of ambush marketing. At the '96 games in Atlanta, Nike put up billboards around the stadium and handed out Nike flags to spectators. There was barely a TV screen that didn't show the Nike logo. An easy way to do ambush marketing at an Olympics is to have an Olympic athlete in your advert. People instantly make the connection without Nike referencing the games. The IOC realized this and introduced Rule 40. This blocked athletes from featuring in any advertising with a non-Olympics partner for the duration of the games. With one decision, the IOC had cut off every athlete's biggest earning opportunity. At the moment when athletes are most valuable to sponsors, they are quite literally banned from advertising and making money. But in 2019, a German court decided that Rule 40 could no longer apply to German athletes. The court said it was unfair for athletes to be blocked from maximizing their earnings, while the IOC failed to give them a share of the sponsorship money they were supposedly protecting. In response, the IOC decided to loosen Rule 40. Paris 2024 will be the first games where athletes are allowed to feature in non-official adverts during the games, although still with some conditions. One argument for removing Rule 40 is the idea that athletes should be free to use any tool available to build their personal brands during the Olympics. An audience on social media is a proven way for athletes to earn money outside of their sport. Take Alicia Schmidt. Schmidt represented Germany at Tokyo 2020 as a backup in the relay. She didn't even compete and managed to gain 500,000 followers. Her behind-the-scenes posts often went viral, giving audiences a unique point of view and access to content they would never normally see. Schmidt is now partnered with Puma and Hugo Boss. She recently turned down a 6-figure sponsorship deal with an unnamed company. The German Federation pays her just $700 a month. The Olympics are no longer the same as a century ago. More athletes, more spectators, and much more money. But the prices for the athletes, still the same. It's one thing that the IOC is not paying athletes directly, but giving the money to its member federations. But sometimes it looks like it's trying hard to make sure that the money stays as far away from the athletes as possible. Only recently, the IOC president complained about the fact that World Athletics decided to pay Olympic gold medalists prize money for the first time in history. It's like some officials are living in the past. 90% of Olympians only qualify for one Olympics in their whole life. Only have this one opportunity to win when the world is watching. It should be easier for them to make some money when the world is watching. The Olympics are like that blockbuster movie everyone talks about, filled with stars, drama, and eye-watering budgets. Yet when it comes time to pay the lead actors, the credits start rolling.
Alright, so for those who were able to guess correctly, congratulations to you. But, most athletes who participate in the Olympics basically earn the same amount as a McDonald's worker. And if that does not surprise you, if that does not worry you, if that doesn't trouble you, then something is wrong, because these are quote-unquote our best athletes from around the world who every 4 years who are able to qualify for the various events. It is their moment to shine, and instead of the Olympics committee award the athletes, and it's not that the money is not there, because it is there, right? To award the athletes for their hard work and efforts, they get $0.00. And the only money that they get is from the various countries, the participating countries. And if they're able to get some lucrative deals with Nike, Puma, Adidas, whatever the brandings or the sports or whatever the company is. And for me, that is sad. I think it's high time that that they get something. The Olympics should be able to hand a check to every single of the 10,000 plus athletes who compete and give them something to walk away with. Because, like we saw in the video, most athletes are like you and I, trying to get by, right? Have to work 2 or 3 jobs, plus have to worry about qualifying for the Olympics.
I'm sure this was not mentioned. Well, this was not mentioned, but at the end of the day, an athlete. Can you imagine an athlete training, and while in training for, let's say, the Paris Olympics, they tore something. They have to spend their own cash out of their pockets to do their medical bills.
Yeah.
Because the IOC is not going to say, "Oh, Jazzy was injured while training for the Olympics for 2024. I'm going to give him $1,000." Nope, you have to.
Or even worse yet, I qualified for the Olympics, and on the day I pull a injury during training on my warm up.
That's your business. I don't care. That is not supposed to be. And then the thing is, the amount of cash that the IOC is making compared to one single athlete, that is not even cash to foot your medical bills.
Exactly.
That is not, and it's not like a one-off situation where these athletes go and do what they do and they park. For example, they put their spikes up or their swim gears up or whatever else they wear and say, okay, it's a one-off situation. I'm going to be done away with the Olympics, and look on the great Usain Bolt. 2008, 2012, 2016. Shelly Ann Fraser Price. 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. 2020-24. You understand what I'm saying? So every year leading up to the Olympics, whether they're going to the Olympics or not, they make it a priority to tell themselves, I'm going to make it to the Olympics to represent my country. Not me, but my country.
Mm-hmm. And it is sad on 2 levels. One, that the body who is putting on these international games not giving me due compensation. At one point in time, I couldn't even take part in brand advertisement that's not part of the Olympic thing, right? Until we were forced to, right? And even then, most athletes are still walking away with nothing, because let's face it, not every sport is given the same attention.
True.
Right? There are some sports, like we played in the top 10 and no sport. I think most people don't even know such sports existed until you probably heard it for the first time. Oh, that's an Olympic game.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
That's an Olympic sport. Okay, I didn't know.
Just like a couple of weeks ago, you and I were going through the top 10 sports, and what? Half of these sports, I don't know them.
Right.
I don't.
But it doesn't. But these are athletes who train year in and year out to make sure they are part of the Olympics through that sport.
Exactly.
And yet the Usain Bolts, the Michael Jordan, those sports that are recognized by the so-called companies because of whatever they produce and so forth, like their shoes and so forth. Yeah, they get them. If you break out, you will make it. But what about the other sports that are not so sexy and not so appealing? More than those athletes are going home, not even if they gold medal or silver or bronze.
Okay, here's a more thought-provoking statement. Let's say Nike and Adidas and Puma, they decide to pull their sponsors for every single athlete they have been sponsoring. What do you think will happen? They will die of hunger. That's exactly what will happen. They are going to die for hunger.
Yeah.
Because the IOC are making billions and they're not spending or giving to their athletes or paying their athletes.
Exactly. And like the person said, it's like, the IOC want to keep the money far away from the athletes.
Exactly.
For making quote unquote the Olympics what it is, because a lot of people look out for the 100 meters, a lot of people look out for the 200 meters, a lot of people look out for the basketball, the football, whatever sport that you like. They look forward to it. Depending on the country that you're from and what sport is more dominant. They look forward to the sports. And the viewership that you get is because those athletes are present at the Olympics. If they were not present, you would not get the same amount of viewership. So the least you could do as a sporting committee who have the money is to give them something, but they can at least keep themselves alive for the next 4 years.
Exactly. And that's why the clip went on to say a lot of these athletes have 2 and 3 jobs just to support them, and it is still not enough. Bills have to be paid. I'm sure a lot of these athletes have kids or other family members to take care of, including themselves. So what? Am I supposed to, quote unquote, break a leg on the track or hit my head in a pool or something for no reason? Come on. And that's why a lot of these athletes are leaving a bit earlier than we expected. Look on, for example, a Warren Ware, for example. He touched the track in 2012, got the 1, 2, 3 in the 200 meter. Where is Warren Ware now? Why? Because because I can tell you this. He will tell the world he's not making any cash. And I will totally agree with him. Why do you think Usain Bolt created tracks and records? Was it because of the fact that he wants to?
No.
Usain Bolt is not making it. If it wasn't for Nike and Puma and all these sponsors, he would not have been making anything.
Exactly. And you realize, you know what? I have enough. Let me reinvest it, because I'm sure you can justify that. He has his own restaurants. He has his stuff. He like, okay, he reinvested whatever he got into the restaurant and so forth, and be like, okay, let me keep my body, in good health, and let me just, maximize what I have gotten in the last 3 or 4 Olympics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Shelly-Ann has her kid to take care of. So what? Is she supposed to pull an hamstring injury? Pull an hamstring for what? For nothing? I mean, if she's making, let's say, $5,000 from the IOC, apart from her prize cash, I mean, fine. I mean, $5,000 is not much, but at least I'm seeing something.
Yeah, there's something. I'll be honest with you. And it's on a spectrum. The IOC is supposed to do their due in giving me the money that I'm, because I'm representing them. That's number 1. Exactly. Number 2, the country that I'm representing should give me my share as well, because I'm quote unquote representing the country. I'm not representing myself. Yes, when I get a medal, yeah, I know, but I'm here and so-called representing my country. So you now have the United States and maybe tying a great, and they will give the athletes something. But how many of those countries are actually giving the athletes anything to speak of?
Exactly. So it goes both ways. None on the left, none on the right. IOC is not paying me. My country is not paying me. If it wasn't a sponsor, I would have died. And what if and that sponsor can pull at any given time?
Yeah, because if he finds that I'm not living up to the brand, for example, the Usain Bolt. Let's say Usain Bolt did well in 2012. He did well in 2016. And let's say for back, you know what? He didn't do well in 2020. No, you know they might just pull the other. You know, living up to the
exactly. And what? He will be losing a lot of cash. Trust me, this is a discussion that will never end. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's a discussion that's, you know, as sports, you know, fans, as people who enjoy sports, and, you know, as athletes ourselves, I think these are those things that I need to have, because I'll tell you honestly, and I think we have had discussion, you know, when it comes to the sports in Caribbean, we as people in the Caribbean are not sports oriented. Give thanks to Jamaica, they have a program, but even in that, it could be much better, right? And don't even ask for the rest of the Caribbean, they worse. You know, we just don't care about sports. If Julia and Alfred make it, everybody will be like, yeah, Selusha got a goal. We got a goal, yeah. But you know how much the country, you know, invested in that athlete from his or her youthful days to where he or she right now. You know, most governments can't even, you know, give you something that is making sense sometimes. You know, because we just really don't care. You see, like you said, or like the clip said, most have to work 2 jobs, and you have to try to beg for time to participate at events.
Exactly.
You know, and you beg, and I'm representing the country. That should be something that's law, my friend. Okay, every athlete who represents in the country, there shouldn't be any ifs, ands, or buts. You have to let them go. And they shouldn't have to be begging for time or negotiate time.
Exactly. And then what? You're not paying me. So if I beg for time, you're not paying me, then why not let me go? I mean, if you are paying me for overtime or whatever the case may be, and saying to me, okay, if you go, then I won't pay you, I mean, I would see to that, but you're not paying me, period. So if I beg time off, then to go and represent you, then give it.
Exactly.
And you're still not paying, so what's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference? So I think it's a topic that needs to be had from the head down, because you know they say, you know, leadership starts from the top. Exactly. The IOC needs to do what they need to do, so other countries now can follow suit. Because at the end of the day, if the IOC really cares about the athletes, they can enforce that every single country, apart from whatever they might be giving to the athletes, but you guys, okay, I'm going to give $5,000. Okay, we want you to match with $5,000 for every athlete, whether they got a gold, silver, or bronze. Give them something. They made it to the Olympics. How many people make it to the Olympics?
Okay, all right, let's do this. How much is for a gold medal, for example? It depends on the country, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Because for example, the US is 7,000.
Okay, fine. Let's say a gold for the US is $7,000. Why doesn't the US government, the sporting government, say to the Olympics, or you know, whatever it is, you give them 7,000, I'll put an extra, you know, 500 on it. Fine. If somebody, let's say the silver is $5,000, let's put another, let's say $400 on it. And a bronze, let's say a bronze is let's say 300. Let's put another, let's say, you know, $3,000. Let's say I'll put another 300 on it. You know what I mean? So right there and then, 5 and 4, that's 9, and 3, that's what, $1,200 ain't killing you.
No, no, it definitely is.
Because you're making quadruple and 10, 20, 30,
Yeah.
40, 50 times that amount. So what?
Yeah, you know. And even if they're not making it, my friend, you know, they have so many sponsors and so forth.
Exactly.
They can talk to the sponsors. You know, Ferrari, that's okay. I want you to, you know, I don't want you to. Yeah, you might not want to send the outfit, but you know, make the outfit feel like this, feel like a human being for goodness sake. Give them something.
Exactly.
So yeah, Puma, Adidas, Nike, take care of the track and field athletes. Good. You know, X, Y, and Z, take care of those athletes. You know, yeah, we're good. But something needs to be done. Because athletes are spending their time, and from the IOC down to the country in question, I think we should do more. Congratulations to the countries who are trying to do something, you know, but there shouldn't be, even if it's not monetary, you know, being like the video mentioned, some get land, some get cars, something gets something, but they should work away with something.
They always say payment sweeten labor, yeah?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Give me something, man. Give me something.
Yep.
Yeah, but just before we clock out, the Paralympics are coming on the heels in about a month and some days from now. So as we get ready for that, we as Hollywood, we focus on all sports, and as persons, you know, with disability, we are not going to do like the other companies and other media that they post everything on the Olympics, but there is nothing on the Paralympics. Nothing. We want to be balanced. You know, we want to represent ourselves. So stay tuned as we get back to you. There will be a few clips that will be presented leading up to the Paralympics. So stay tuned for that. In various Paralympic sports. And yeah, so stay tuned, guys. We have more in store for you in the coming months in regards to the Paralympics.
I can tell you this, that the Premier Leagues around the world have started. I'm referring to the football Premier Leagues around the world. And in the English Premier League, I can tell you that Liverpool actually won their match 2-0. And of course, sometime soon I'll give you the rest of the games that were played today.
Yes, indeed.
So no worries. You are not, we are not like every other stations around the world. We give you everything and anything because, of course, the tagline says what, Jazz?
Everything sports.
Exactly. And, of course, the tagline of Zollyhood Radio is, of course,
Zollyhood Radio, where the magic happens.
Indeed. So, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Look out. Listen out. Share, like, whatever you need to do. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell. Tell your ex-boyfriend, tell your ex-girlfriend, tell your ex-wife, tell your ex-husband, tell whoever you want to tell.
Just tell them.
Just tell about Zollyhood Radio. Tell. You know what I mean? Inform. This is one reason, or this is one time I will tell you to inform on Zollyhood Radio. Inform on it. Be an informer as it regards to Zollyhood Radio. Tell everyone, even the cops, about Zollyhood Radio.
Yeah, we respect the cops, you know, we have public.
Of course, catch the after party 2.0, the party 2.0 right after this show, and do stay tuned for the rest of the day because, of course, I will be back from 6 to 8 this evening covering for DJ Vision on, of course, The Last Man Standing. So, double this evening, double trouble. So, until next you hear our voices, it's goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Take care. All you good. We will there.
Indeed.
Shab done, and I did the tail, shot the one done. Why the youth them hungry? Why the girl them steal herself in money? The people want world government, nothing else makes sense. See if get a youth, everybody get help. World government, nothing else makes sense. See if get a youth, everybody get help. When you vote, world boss, world boss. Everybody up here, all who watch up grass. When you vote, world boss, world boss. Landslide victory, bumper ass clad. World boss step in a parliament. Every ghetto youth I get a house and a Benz. Child molester them I get a rope and a end. Juvenile no sleep a road we a put up all of them. Set up the elderly them is the root like the stem. Black woman I make money like the day now no end. Education yet a fi free now fi spend. No crime no one again me lick the shot of them. World government nothing else makes sense. See if ghetto youth everybody get help. World government nothing else makes sense. See if ghetto youth everybody get help. When you vote world boss, world boss. Everybody up here, all who watch up grass. When you vote, world boss, world boss. Landslide victory, bumper ass clad. No police couldn't tell liar court. Squaddy we do that a feed the force from the force. No more China, me could come in like the coast. Foreigner buyer just the weed that fi smoke. Stop extradite, stop that bike tonight. Slavery use the ship, nowadays use the flight. Same thing, nothing change, fight for we life. World in a power, who no alright. World government, nothing else makes sense. See if get a youth, everybody get help. World government, nothing else makes sense. See if get a youth.
You want a man like me? When we really entertain. Yeah, hear me chimney records, turn it up. Let's go.
She says she have her money's never home. No, he's never home. No, he's never home. No, no. As night coming down the street, go home. So he's never home. No, he's never home. Yo, so man of them gyal and not treat them right. Leave them all alone down roam street at night. Now wonder what I go on a home. But like here Jamaica, another man aboard our flight. Soaring to new heights. Pleasure and pain leave a body ignite. But this fool down a road every night. From Bembe to Wet Sunday to wedding night. She have her money's never home. No, he's never home. No, he's never home. No, no. As night coming down the street, go home. So he's never home. No, he's never home. No, no.
Me make y'all sweat like rain.